he did ask a lot of questions, which sometimes makes you feel like when did I become the grizzled veteran? But
Come on.
he was really interested in our work and our experiences and stuff, and it's fun when someone's interested in what you really do. And he never once said like, hey, what's, fame? Because if you're not in it for that, if you're really interested in acting and movies and filmmaking, that's really a peripheral kind of like, I guess it sort of comes with it. You kind of live in denial a little bit about it, and it is something that you have to deal with for your own psychological, emotional health on some level, I think. But it's not like, I think it speaks very well for Ty that he was really very focused on, like, how do you direct a movie? What are the movies that are your influences? Who are the directors you like?
I don't know if we officially met, but I remember meeting you when I was 11 years old, 12 years old, something like that, at the Tree of Life premiere.
That's
very
right.
briefly.
I now know that was you at the time. It's so funny because that seems like the same time as now to me, and like to you, that's like, no, I'm a grown man. I was a little boy.
I know.
Yeah, Terry's a friend of mine. I came to the Tree of Life premiere. I loved the movie, and I remember meeting the kids in the movie, of which you were one, and you were a very good kid. Very nice. And now look at you, grown man. Look at that.
Not a good kid anymore.
No, terrible kid. But then, so we briefly met, and then we met on this movie, and I knew who he was. I knew his work. By then, his grown-up work also. And George was really excited, and I was really excited and looking forward to it because, my character's relationship to his character, him and Daniel, was vital to me in what I was doing. So it was really, obviously, of paramount importance to me. You have to have this deep affection and compassion for this young person. It's very hard to fake that. Chemistry, people use chemistry in a lot of context for like romantic comedies or that kind of thing, but actually chemistry is much more commonly applicable to situations like this, where you're supposed to have known each other your whole lives, supposed to have a comfort, and you just meet this person and you just hope, God, I hope we get along. And luckily with Ty, he's so enormously likable and winning and kind and good. It was just like easy.
Well, thanks, man. I feel the same way.
I think for me, anything I do, I have to find a way to make it resonant to me, to find a way to relate to it, which is in effect sort of trying to make it hit close to home. Some things are easier, some things are a stretch, like, I've never been in space, or like, gotten a kung fu fight with somebody or whatever, and so you have to work a little harder. And the more honest and complicated and nuanced and resonant and kind of rich with detail, and obviously a memoir is, when done as well as this, is all those things, it's much easier to find parallels. And in my case, there are some very clear ones. My dad was a bartender. My dad was really interested in writing and literature and storytelling and passed that on to me. And it was a community very similar to the community on Long Island that's depicted in the movie. And also, being a father is so incredibly important to me. It's the most important thing in the world to me. So it's very easy to fall into that. My son is, Daniel's age. But I also think maybe the relationship between parents and children when they reach young adulthood sort of shifts into a more slightly, not peer, but sort of mentor-y sort of thing, And which I was comfortable with just because Ty made it so easy. And he was so, excited and talented and curious, and I don't know whether it was flattery or not, but he wanted to hear what me and George thought about things, and that was fun. It was like, I remember we were running through all the movies that we thought you had to see and getting in arguments about.
That was a lot of fun.
It was
working my way through the list.
Yeah.
Did you go and stare up at the building in the rain? No.
The hardest thing about working with George is twofold. One, that he's going to make a movie that's a certain level of quality, which if you don't rise to that, it's going to be very evident. Two, people are going to see it because he made it, so it's not just going to disappear. And three, and most importantly, and this is could feel like the least good, but actually it is the best thing about it, is that he has an incredibly exacting, perceptive eye. So he has a very good idea of what's false, what's real, not just that, but what will work better than something else. And so there's an exacting, sense of that he really is looking for the absolute best performance. But more and more in my life and career, it's like an enormous relief to me because it actually means I feel like I'm in good hands.
I mean, he's just tons of fun. You know, I think very trusting. You know, he casts people and puts people in the film that he trusts with the performance. And I think he's, you know, allows you to do what you want with it. And even if you have a crazy idea, you know, he came up to me several times throughout the process of making the film, and I would come to him and with a crazy idea, and I'd say, hey man, what do you think about this? Like, should we try this? And he goes, yeah man, try it. If it's bad, I won't put it in the movie. You know, so it's, you know, you always feel very, very comfortable with him, and you know, he understands where you are.
Here's the thing. You gotta have it. I don't know what it is, but if you don't have it immediately, you never get it.
My life has really changed a lot where, you know, when I started out, it seemed like such a long shot that I would ever get hired for anything. And my goal really was just to make a living as an actor. So I could say I was an actor, not a bartender actor, you know, a sheetrock hanging actor, because that was the reality for most people. So that seemed like a really big ambition. And then when I got those opportunities, there's a sort of almost compulsive need to sort of continue to chase after them, to take them. They're going to go away. It's fleeting. The phone will stop ringing. You're only as good as your last movie. It kind of can inculcate this slightly obsessive focus on your career that's really not healthy. And the thing that brought me out of that and that really clarified perspective for me, and I suppose this is a cliche, but with good reason, which was once I had kids and started, you know, looking at my time and how I spent it and how I look back on how I looked at the time I spent away working versus with my children, it just became very obvious to me that the priority was time with my kids, particularly when I got divorced and I had half the time. So I'm trying to fit a whole week of dad into 3.5 days. And that's hard, you know, and stressful. And it became so precious to me that my standards really changed.